But we approached him and we asked him to pay us, and he wouldn't pay us. And that kind of broke my heart.
They came to dance, but ended up changing the culture. Behind the glitz, the soul, and the legendary line dances, Soul Train was a battlefield of ambition, identity, and artistry. From East Coast fire to West Coast cool, these dancers weren't just moving to the music. They were breaking rules, shaking up the system, and rewriting what it meant to be seen. Step behind the curtain and meet the legends who didn't just ride the Soul Train. They drove it straight into history.
Rosie's first big break was Soul Train, and we have the video. Let's see how you did it. Oh,
look at that!
I love it.
Rosie Perez brought a whole new kind of fire to Soul Train. Hailing from Brooklyn, she hit the stage with fast, punchy moves that screamed East Coast hip-hop, completely different from the smooth, flowing West Coast style the show was known for. Her presence was electric, and it didn't take long for people to take notice, but while her bold energy made her stand out, it also created friction behind the scenes. That tension centered mainly around Soul Train creator Don Cornelius. Known for his tightly curated vision of the show, Cornelius wasn't thrilled with Rosie's aggressive style and loud personality. Their creative clash grew quickly and eventually came to a head. According to Rosie, the disagreement got physical. She threw something at him in frustration, and not long after, she was kicked off the set. It was a dramatic moment, but it didn't stop her momentum. In fact, her brief time on Soul Train turned out to be a springboard. The attention she grabbed helped her land the role of choreographer for the Fly Girls on In Living Color, where her East Coast style was finally embraced. That gig opened even more doors, leading to major acting roles in iconic films like Do the Right Thing and White Men Can't Jump. Rosie also had to navigate the feeling of being an outsider. As a proud, outspoken Latina in a space rooted in Black Los Angeles culture, she didn't always feel welcomed or understood. Still, she stayed true to herself. She didn't conform or tone things down to fit in, and that authenticity became her trademark. Rosie Perez's Soul Train story might have ended in conflict, but it was also the spark that lit up her career. By staying bold and refusing to compromise, she turned a rough beginning into a defining moment and changed the game in the process.
Me and Campbell, we were the first ones to start doing all this locking and kidding the floor, and I'm this girl going this way, he's going, it was just...
Data Da, Joe Freeman, didn't follow steps. She followed instinct, a ballet-trained teen tearing up LA club floors. Her raw, unpredictable style caught the attention of Soul Train and landed her a spot on the show without a formal audition. Unlike other dancers, she didn't stick to routines. She moved in the moment, wild and free. Her breakout came when soul singer Joe pulled her on stage mid-performance. Cameras were rolling. The crowd was locked in, and Don Cornelius wasn't happy. He signaled for her to get off, but she stayed, dancing like she owned the moment. That boldness defined her time on the show. Data's freeform style often clashed with Cornelius's preference for Polish, but she didn't back down. Later, James Brown pulled her on stage the same way. No warning, no rehearsal, and again, she nailed it. Off stage, she became a voice for dancers' rights, calling out how they were often overlooked. Data didn't just perform. She made statements. Her fearless presence and instinctive moves helped redefine what it meant to dance on Soul Train and beyond. Jeffrey Daniel from Soul Train.
When you love someone
To the moonwalk. Jeffrey Daniel brought next-level style and innovation to Soul Train, turning heads with his smooth moves and undeniable charisma. As part of the show's dance crew and later a member of the group Shalimar, he helped redefine what it meant to be a dancer on television, adding flair, precision, and a touch of rebellion. Alongside Jody Watley, Daniel gave the group its identity, mixing music with fashion and movement to create something fresh. But behind the scenes, it wasn't all smooth. Daniel and Watley felt stifled by management, who limited their creative input. Frustrated, they both left Shalimar in search of artistic freedom. That bold step changed the game, especially for Daniel, whose influence reached global heights when Michael Jackson saw him dancing and asked to learn his signature backslide. That move, later renamed the moonwalk, became one of the most iconic dance steps in history. Though his relationship with Don Cornelius was complicated, Daniel's time on Soul Train laid the foundation for his international career. His journey wasn't just about being a standout dancer, it was about taking control of his artistry and leaving a permanent mark on pop culture. Shabba-Doo, locking, break-in, and breaking out. Adolfo Shabba-Doo.
All right, we get to be proud and black and strut our stuff and be unapologetic.
Quiñones started as a dancer on Soul Train, but he wasn't content just riding the wave. He wanted to create one. Teaming up with Don Campbellock Campbell, he co-founded the Lockers, the groundbreaking dance crew that turned locking into a full-blown cultural movement. With sharp, animated moves and unstoppable energy, they quickly became bigger than the show itself, performing on national stages and bringing street dance to the mainstream. That rising fame created friction. Behind the scenes, Don Cornelius reportedly wasn't happy that the Lockers, and especially Shabba-Doo, were outshining the Soul Train platform. The tension hit a breaking point when Shabba-Doo and others asked to be paid for their work and were denied. Disheartened, he left the show for good, but walking away didn't slow him down. It launched him. He became a star as Ozone in the hit films Breakin' and Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo, and later choreographed for major artists like Madonna. Though the fallout with Soul Train was never fully resolved, Shabba-Doo's legacy was locked in. He helped turn street dance into a global phenomenon and inspired generations to move, spin, and freeze their way into history.
For me. Crazy enough, I got there when I was at the peak of my career as an X-ray adult star. So it was kind of like a scandalous moment for me at that point.
Heather Hunter's time on Soul Train came with a twist few saw coming. From 1990 to 1992, she lit up the stage with her bold energy and captivating presence. But behind the scenes, she was living a very different life. At the same time, she was dancing on national TV. She was also rising in the adult film industry, having debuted in 1988 with Heather Hunter on Fire. Juggling both worlds was rare and controversial. Her dual careers made people stop and stare, but not always with support. The contrast between the wholesome image of Soul Train and the adult entertainment world sparked discomfort and whispers, creating a complicated public image for Heather. While her dancing caught eyes, some in the industry and audience couldn't reconcile the two sides of her professional life. By 1992, Heather left Soul Train. Whether it was her decision or a quiet push-out remains unclear, but the shift felt inevitable as her adult film career took off. Still, her time on the show was a bold chapter, one that challenged norms, blurred boundaries, and proved that talent doesn't always follow the rules. Heather Hunter danced her own path, even when it meant walking through controversy.
But I never thought I wasn't black. Why would I be on Soul?
Cheryl's song made an unforgettable impression the moment she stepped onto the Soul Train line. With her signature long hair, flawless red outfits, and smooth moves in high heels, she stood out, not just for her style, but because she was the only Asian dancer in a space dominated by black talent. At a time when diversity on mainstream television was still limited, her presence sparked both admiration and backlash. Viewers sent in hate mail, questioning why she was even on the show. But Cheryl kept showing up week after week, letting her dancing speak louder than the criticism. Don Cornelius, to his credit, backed her and recognized the unique energy she brought to the stage. That support helped Cheryl push through the discomfort of not always feeling fully accepted, both by the audience and, at times, her fellow dancers. Inside the studio, it wasn't always smooth sailing. Her different background and style meant she didn't fit the usual Soul Train mold. But over time, she earned respect by staying consistent, graceful, and unapologetically herself. Her dedication paid off. Cheryl became a recognizable figure on the show and a symbol of quiet resilience. After Soul Train, she surprised fans again by appearing in Bobby Brown's Don't Be Cruel music video, proving she still had the moves. Cheryl's song didn't come in to make a statement, but by simply showing up and holding her space, she made one anyway. Before she was a Grammy-winning solo artist, Jody Watley was turning heads on Soul Train. With her effortless, cool, sharp fashion and smooth dance moves, her presence caught the eye of Don Cornelius and music executive Dick Griffey, who brought her together with Jeffrey Daniel to form the group Shalimar. With Watley at the front, Shalimar wasn't just about the music, it was about image, movement, and trend-setting flair. But behind the glamorous surface, things weren't so shiny. Watley began to feel boxed in by management that kept tight control over the group's creative direction. She had ideas, vision, and ambition, but little room to express them. The fun and freedom that once drew her in started to fade. Eventually, she decided to walk away from the group and take a bold leap toward building her own identity as an artist.
That leap paid off. Reinventing herself as a solo act, Watley combined R&B, pop, and fashion-forward style into a fresh, modern sound. Her debut album was a hit, earning her a Grammy for Best New Artist and cementing her as a major force in the industry. Through it all, she never forgot her roots, later giving Don Cornelius credit for helping launch her journey, even if their working relationship wasn't without tension. Jody Watley's path from Soul Train dancer to pop icon is a story of transformation, self-empowerment, and refusing to settle. She didn't just evolve, she took control, proving that style and substance could go hand in hand when you own your narrative.
So what I did was I saved up what little money I had, told my father, told my mother, I'm gonna go to LA. My father told me over my dead body, I told him you have to supply the gun because
Tyrone "The Bone" Proctor wasn't just a dancer, he was a pioneer. Known for helping bring the underground style of whacking to the forefront, Proctor lit up Soul Train with his fierce arm movements, bold energy, and expressive flair. Whacking, born in the LGBTQ clubs of 1970s Los Angeles, was more than a dance style, it was a statement. And Tyrone brought it to national TV with confidence and pride. His unique style caught the eye of Soul Train creator Don Cornelius, who invited him to be part of a national tour. That moment marked a big step in Tyrone's career and helped push whacking into the mainstream. But behind the spotlight, Proctor faced real challenges. As a queer black man in an era and industry that didn't fully embrace either identity, he had to fight for space, respect, and recognition. Despite the barriers, Tyrone never backed down. He spoke out about the lack of credit dancers received, even while their moves helped define pop culture. After winning a car on American Bandstand, a rival show, he found himself unable to pay the taxes on it. Surprisingly, it was Don Cornelius, despite the rivalry, who stepped in to help. Their relationship had its ups and downs, but there was mutual respect. Tyrone took his talents global, working with stars like Jody Watley and teaching whacking around the world. His influence stretched far beyond Soul Train, helping dancers understand that movement could be both art and activism. He wasn't just performing, he was shifting the culture, one sharp move at a time.